Hello and welcome back to Speed Model. We've made pretty good progress on the office itself, so today we're going to continue along the same train of thought. We're going to finish up that one office and also copy it over to the opposite side. You're watching another episode of Speed Model. Instead of continuing on the office right away, I decide to have a little change of pace by moving on to one of the two studios. Now, no good studio can do without a green screen room, and that is exactly what I'm building. You might recognize this technique from season 1 of Speed Model. I basically have a plane at a right angle and use Blender's cloth simulation feature to deform it into a soft cloth-like shape. It takes quite a few attempts to get it to work right, including some manual modification of the vertices on the mesh, but eventually I am satisfied, moving on to build lights to light the scene. This one is also not too different from Speed Model Season 1. I begin by modeling the long neck of the light stand, then a middle portion which I built by subdividing a pyramid, and then moving on to the legs. It's really a whole lot of different cylinders that I'm pushing around. I finish up by building a little flexible foot for the bottom of the legs by using a half sphere. With that done, I proceed to model the actual light itself. In Season 1, I went for a can light kind of look, but for this project, I decided to go for an LED panel look instead. I pop in a GIMP to create the look of a single LED, which I then tiled into a larger shape. Back in Blender, I map it to a flat LED panel, also adding an area light to the front of it to allow it to actually illuminate the scene. Tweaking the angle of the light and its brightness takes some time. I then place another item in the scene to check that it looks okay. With that done, I duplicate the light off to the side. I soon turn my attention back to the office after importing the computer, monitors, and keyboard from the last season of Speed Model. It takes a bit of time to get everything to the correct scale of this project, but soon I had everything positioned nicely on the desk. I take some time out to rename everything properly, but I got distracted by some settings I had never seen before in Blender, namely viewport ambient occlusion. Anyway, I returned back on track soon enough and continued to rename everything. Then I copy the entire office over to the other end. Now that both offices are populated, I add some tweaks to make the offices look different from each other. Of course, I have to spend yet more time to rename everything. Then I turn my attention back to the green room, modeling a camera for the scene. This once again is a throwback to Season 1 of Speed Model. While this camera isn't going to be exactly like the one we've already seen, it's going to be built in a similar manner. Of course, I'd forgotten a lot of things about how I built it, so you can see me spending some time struggling to reproduce the look, particularly with the handle grip. I eventually figure it out and move on to build a shotgun mic type of thing at the front. I originally wanted to build a flip-out screen, but eventually opted for an external screen instead. I built an arm for it, but was too lazy to build the actual screen itself. Instead, I simply copied one of the lights over since it was already in the correct shape and scaled it down to fit the scale of the camera. Finally, I color everything up, completing the modeling for the camera. I give the green room some finishing touches and we're ready to render. And there you have it. Now, I want to apologize once again for this episode being kinda haphazardly back and forth. In fact, the reason for this is because I kinda had a bit of a block. If you look closely at the clock in the bottom right corner, especially at the date, you'll realize that the clips from this particular episode actually came from a pretty wide range of dates. And the reason for that is because, well, when you have a block, you open up Blender and you don't really feel like doing anything. But now that we've moved on to the green room and I've started building stuff there, I think I've sort of gotten over that block and I'll be able to continue hopefully, at full speed again. So yeah, I'll see you again in 2 weeks where we get started on the cubicle room. That's all there is for this episode. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, consider checking out the rest of my work on my channel. Alternatively, you may be interested in the last season of Speed Model. If you'd like to show me some monetary support, I am on Patreon. You can find a link to my campaign in the video description. Of course, you can simply like this video or leave a comment. I'll be sure to respond as soon as I can. To keep in touch with my future uploads, do subscribe to this channel. And for even more updates, check out the official Twitter account for this channel at 0612TV. Thank you for your support.